Welcome back to the Boost English Skill Podcast, your daily English boost.
Hello, everyone. It feels especially calm and welcoming today, doesn't it?
It really does. A perfect atmosphere for our topic. Hello, John.
Hello, Luna. Always a pleasure.
For our new listeners, my name is Luna.
And I'm John. We're so glad you've joined us.
Today, we're talking about a challenge many language learners face. Our episode is called Learn English Without Overthinking.
Without overthinking. That's a skill we could all use, not just in English.
Absolutely. And we're speaking at a B1 level today. Clear, natural sentences and simple idioms.
If you're a strong beginner at an A1 or A2 level, please don't feel any pressure.
Just let the conversation wash over you. Enjoy the rhythm and the sound, like listening to relaxing music. It's great practice.
And if you enjoy our podcast, we'd be so grateful if you'd like, subscribe, and share it with a friend.
It helps us reach more wonderful listeners like you. Thank you.
So, Luna, learning without overthinking. Why is that so difficult?
I think because we care. We want to do it right. We want to be perfect.
And language has so many rules. Grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. It's easy to get stuck in your head.
Stuck in your head. That's the perfect description. Overthinking is when your brain is spinning but no words are coming out.
It's like wanting to cross a river, but instead of just stepping on the stones, you stop to analyze every stone. Is it strong enough? Is it the right stone?
And while you're analyzing, everyone else has already crossed the river.
Exactly. The goal is to get across, not to pick the perfect stone.
So in English, the goal is communication, to share an idea, to understand someone, not to construct a perfect sentence.
But our school minds are trained for perfection. A mistake feels like a failure.
And that feeling stops us from trying. It's the biggest barrier to fluency, I think.
So how do we turn off that overthinking switch? Or at least turn it down?
I think the first step is to change our relationship with mistakes.
To see them not as failures, but as data, information.
Yes, every time you make a mistake, your brain gets information. Oh, that's not how you say it. That's how learning works.
Children learn this way. They say things wrong all the time. I go'd to the park. No one gets angry. They just hear the correct version and adjust.
They don't feel shame. They're just experimenting with sounds.
So we need to become like children again in a way. Curious experimenters.
But with the patience of an adult. That's the trick.
A second strategy is to focus on the message, not the medium. Focus on what you want to say, not how you're saying it.
In a real conversation, people care about your idea, your story, your question. They don't care about your third conditional grammar.
They really don't. They just want to connect with you.
So, if you're trying to ask for directions, focus on the destination. Where is the train station? The goal is to get the directions.
Not to say the most elegant sentence. Just get the information.
This is the kind of English people use every day. Simple, direct, and sometimes imperfect.
And it works. It gets the job done.
I want to ask our listeners something about this.
What's on your mind?
I'm curious if they've ever had a moment where they overthought something simple. Maybe they wanted to say hello, but worried about their accent.
Or they spent 5 minutes composing a 2-line text message.
If you feel comfortable, share it in the comments. We've all been there. It helps to laugh about it together.
So, another tool, time limits. Give yourself a time limit for a task.
Oh, that's a good one. If you're writing an email in English, set a timer for 10 minutes.
When the timer goes off, you send it. No more editing, no more doubting.
This forces you to go with your first instinct. Your instinct is usually more natural than your overthought version.
Because overthinking comes from the critical part of your brain. Your instinct comes from the part that just wants to communicate.
And that part is often more fluent even with mistakes.
This works for speaking, too. In a conversation, give yourself permission to just speak. Don't plan 3 sentences ahead.
Listen to the other person and then respond with the first thing that comes to mind.
It might not be perfect, but it will be real. And real communication is satisfying.
Let's talk about the role of listening and reading. They are input activities, so we often feel less pressure.
But even there, we can overthink. We can stop at every unknown word.
And look it up and lose the flow of the story.
So a habit to build is to keep going. If you don't know a word, try to guess from context. If you can't guess, just let it go.
The goal of listening or reading for pleasure is to understand the overall meaning, not every single word.
This is how we learn naturally. Our brain figures things out from context. It's a powerful muscle.
And when you listen or read this way, it's enjoyable. It's not a vocabulary test.
That enjoyment is key. When you enjoy something, you do it more. When you do it more, you get better.
So choosing content you genuinely like, a fun podcast, an interesting article, is a way to learn without overthinking.
You're learning because you're interested, not because you're forcing yourself.
Now, what about preparation? Can we prepare without overthinking?
I think we can. Preparation is good. Over-preparation is the problem.
The difference is in the goal. Preparation is having a few key phrases ready. Over-preparation is trying to script an entire conversation.
Life is not a script. You can't predict what the other person will say.
So prepare a little, then let go. Be present in the actual moment.
This is a practice in trust, trusting that you know enough to handle the conversation.
And if you don't know a word, you have other tools. You can describe it, you can use your hands, you can ask.
Communication is creative. It's not just about words from a textbook.
Let's check in with our listeners. How is your English listening today?
This is a conversation about not overthinking, so we hope you're just listening calmly, not trying to translate every word.
Just catching the main ideas is perfect. That's how you build fluency.
Now, another big source of overthinking, grammar.
Grammar, the beautiful, complex rulebook of English.
It's important, of course, but it's a servant, not a master.
What do you mean?
Grammar is there to help you be clear. It's a tool, but if you're so worried about using the tool perfectly, you never build the house.
So we should learn grammar, but then let it live in the background. Trust that you've learned it and let it come out naturally.
When you're speaking, you don't have time to think, is this the present perfect or the past simple? You just speak.
And often your brain will choose the right one because you've heard it 1,000 times.
Exactly. Your ear knows more than your conscious mind gives it credit for.
So feed your ear. Listen to a lot of English. Your brain will absorb the patterns.
And then when you speak, you'll use those patterns without even thinking about the rules.
That's learning without overthinking, letting your subconscious do the work.
Now, what about the fear of being judged? That's a huge part of overthinking.
We imagine that native speakers are judging every mistake, but most people are just happy you're trying to speak their language.
Really, they appreciate the effort. They might even help you.
And most of the time, people are thinking about themselves, not analyzing your grammar.
It's a liberating thought. You are not the center of their critical attention.
So we have to let go of that imaginary audience. The critical judge in our head is usually much harsher than any real person.
So talk back to that judge. Say, thank you for trying to help, but I'm just going to speak now.
That's a good habit. Acknowledge the fear and then do it anyway.
Another practical tip, practice in low-pressure situations first.
Don't make your first English conversation a job interview. Talk to a friendly shopkeeper or use a language exchange app with another learner.
In these situations, the stakes are low. No one will be upset if you make a mistake.
It builds your confidence slowly. You learn that the world doesn't end when you say something wrong.
And each small success builds evidence against your overthinking brain. See, I can do this.
Now let's talk about the good enough principle.
Oh, I love this. Good enough is a magical phrase.
It means your English doesn't have to be perfect to be effective. It just has to be good enough for the situation.
Ordering a coffee? Coffee, please. Good enough.
Asking for help? Can you help me? Good enough.
We don't need to say, might I perhaps trouble you for some assistance?
That's overthinking.
Right. Simple is often better. Clear is better than complex.
So embrace good enough. It will get you through 90% of daily situations.
And as you get more comfortable, your good enough will naturally become better.
But it starts with accepting simple, functional English.
This is related to something called threshold fear, the fear of starting until you're ready.
We think, I'll start speaking when I know more vocabulary, when my grammar is better.
But you're ready now. You know enough to say something. You just have to start.
The only way to get better at speaking is to speak. There's no way around it.
So break the threshold. Say one thing today, just one sentence to someone.
That first step is the most important. It proves to your brain that you can survive it.
And it makes the next step easier.
We've covered a lot of strategies. Change your view of mistakes, focus on the message, use time limits, keep listening or reading flowing, prepare lightly, trust your ear, ignore the imaginary judge, practice in low-pressure situations, embrace good enough, and break the threshold fear.
That's a full toolkit. But the most important tool is a shift in mindset.
From a mindset of perfection to a mindset of exploration.
From I must be correct to I want to connect.
That shift changes everything. It turns English from a test into a tool for living.
And it makes the process so much more enjoyable. You can have fun with it.
Because language is fun. It's playful. We can play with words.
When you overthink, you lose the playfulness. You lose the joy.
So how do we cultivate that playful mindset?
We can do silly exercises. Try to describe your bedroom using only 5 simple words.
Or try to learn the words to a catchy English song and sing along, even if you don't understand every word.
Play word games. Watch a funny cartoon in English.
When you play, you're not worried about mistakes. You're just having fun. And you're still learning.
Your brain is relaxed, and a relaxed brain learns better.
It's true. Stress blocks learning. Play opens the door.
So maybe the ultimate habit is to schedule playful English time. No goals, no tests, just exploration.
That sounds wonderful. And it's something anyone can do at any level.
Even listening to this podcast can be playful English time. You're just listening to a friendly chat.
That's our hope, that this feels like a break, not homework.
We're coming to the end of our conversation. I feel very relaxed about this topic.
Me too. It's a reminder to be kinder to ourselves in the learning process.
Let's summarize. Learning without overthinking is about prioritizing communication over perfection.
Embrace mistakes as learning data. Focus on your message.
Use tricks like time limits to stop the overthinking cycle.
Trust the knowledge you've absorbed through listening and reading.
Practice in low-stakes situations. Aim for good enough.
And most of all, bring a sense of play and curiosity to English.
You have permission to be imperfect. You have permission to just try.
That's how fluency is built. Step by step, mistake by mistake, conversation by conversation.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this journey.
If this episode helped you, please help us by liking and subscribing to the Boost English Skill podcast.
Sharing it with a fellow learner is a wonderful way to spread this calm approach. Thank you.
We'll be back soon with more gentle conversations to support your English growth.
Until then, be playful, be brave, don't overthink it.
Have a wonderful, fluent week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.